In the vastness of space, a powerful race of aliens called the apex predators roamed. They were known for their strength, speed, and advanced technology. Across the galaxy, other species feared them. The apex predators had conquered many planets, and they believed that no one could stop them. One day, while scanning the stars, their leader, Zorath, noticed a small blue planet. This planet was called Earth. Zorath's eyes gleamed with excitement. "This place looks weak," he thought. "These humans will be easy to conquer." He quickly gathered his team, a group of fierce warriors who had never lost a battle. They prepared their ships for the invasion, confident they would crush the humans in no time. Back on Earth, life was normal. People went about their daily routines, unaware of the danger approaching. In a military base, a group of scientists and soldiers monitored the skies. They noticed strange lights moving quickly toward Earth. Commander Sarah, a brave and smart leader, stood at the control center. She stared at the screens, her heart racing. "Look at those objects! They are not from our world," one of the scientists exclaimed. The room fell silent. Commander Sarah quickly called for a meeting. "Everyone, listen up! We have a serious situation. Unknown ships are coming toward us, and we need to prepare for an attack." The soldiers and scientists rushed to their stations. They worked together, gathering information and planning their defense. Sarah knew that they had to act fast. "We may not know what we are up against, but we can't just sit here," she said firmly. "Let's set up a perimeter and get our best weapons ready. We will show them that we are not weak." As night fell, the apex predators landed on Earth, their ships towering over the landscape. The ground shook as they descended, and a loud roar echoed through the air. The aliens stepped out, towering and intimidating, their muscles rippling under their dark armor. Zorath raised his weapon, looking down at the small humans below. "This planet is ours now!" he shouted, his voice booming. The humans stared in shock. Many felt fear creep into their hearts, but others felt a spark of courage. Sarah gathered her soldiers. "Stay calm! We will fight! We must protect our home," she urged. The soldiers nodded, determination shining in their eyes. They quickly armed themselves with rifles and prepared for battle. The first shots rang out as the aliens began to attack. Zorath and his warriors unleashed powerful blasts, destroying buildings and sending humans running. But amidst the chaos, Sarah and her team fought back. They aimed carefully, taking down a few aliens and surprising the invaders. "Look, they're fighting back!" Zorath shouted in disbelief. He had expected the humans to flee, not to resist. As more soldiers joined the fight, the aliens started to realize that these humans were not as weak as they had thought. They were determined, brave, and ready to protect their home. As the battle raged on, the humans used their knowledge of the city to their advantage. They hid in alleys and behind barriers, firing at the aliens when they least expected it. Sarah led her team with courage, shouting orders and encouraging her soldiers. Zorath grew frustrated. "These humans are tougher than they look," he roared. He had never faced such resistance before. The apex predators began to regroup, but the humans kept pushing back, refusing to give up. The first day of the invasion ended in chaos, but it was clear that the humans would not surrender easily. They had shown bravery and resilience, sparking a fire of hope in each other's hearts. The apex predators might have thought they were invincible, but the humans were ready to prove them wrong. As night fell, both sides prepared for what was to come. The battle for Earth had only just begun, and no one knew how it would end. The sun rose over the city, but there was no peace. The sounds of alarms blared through the streets, waking everyone from their sleep. People were scared. They knew the aliens were still out there, and the battle was far from over. Commander Sarah stood at the control center, her eyes glued to the screens. The aliens were regrouping, and she could see them planning their next move. "We need to prepare for another attack," she said, her voice steady. "Everyone get to your stations! We need to be ready for whatever they throw at us." Meanwhile, Zorath and his team of apex predators were furious. "These humans are brave, but they are foolish," Zorath growled. "We will show them the power of the apex predators." He pointed to a map of the city displayed on a holographic screen. "Let's take out their communication centers first. They won't be able to coordinate their defense without it." The aliens moved swiftly. They boarded their ships, ready to strike. As they flew over the city, the humans looked up in fear. The dark ships blocked out the sun, casting shadows over the streets. Then, without warning, the aliens launched their attack. Explosions shook the ground as the aliens fired their powerful weapons. Buildings crumbled and debris filled the air. Panic spread through the city as people ran for cover. "Stay inside! Find shelter!" Sarah shouted, trying to keep everyone calm. But the humans were not going to give up. They quickly organized themselves, preparing to fight back. Sarah gathered her best soldiers. "We need to stop them from destroying everything. Let's hit them hard and show them we will not back down." The soldiers nodded, ready for action. They moved to strategic points throughout the city, setting up defenses. As the first wave of alien ships approached, they fired back with everything they had. Bullets flew through the air, and some of the alien ships were hit. Zorath felt the sting of defeat for the first time. "What is happening?" "They are fighting back!" he exclaimed. The humans quickly learned from their mistakes. They used the city's buildings for cover, hiding and shooting at the aliens whenever they could. The streets became a battlefield, with dust and smoke filling the air. Sarah's team worked together, communicating effectively despite the chaos around them. Zorath grew angrier. "We cannot let these humans win! Focus all our firepower on their command center." He ordered his warriors to intensify their attack. More blasts rang out, and the ground shook beneath them. Humans were injured, but they kept fighting. Sarah moved through the streets, encouraging her soldiers. "Stay strong! We can do this! Remember why we fight!" she shouted. Her words inspired her team, pushing them to fight harder. They worked together, using their knowledge of the city to outsmart the aliens. Suddenly, a loud explosion erupted near the command center. Sarah's heart sank. "We need to protect our base!" she shouted. She raced toward the center, leading her team to defend it. They set up barriers and prepared for the worst. As the aliens charged, the humans fired back. The two sides clashed in a fierce battle. The air was filled with the sounds of gunfire, explosions, and cries of determination. The humans showed incredible bravery, standing their ground against the fearsome apex predators. Zorath, watching the battle unfold, felt a wave of frustration. "Why can't we crush them? They're supposed to be weak!" He rallied his troops, demanding they fight harder. But the more they pushed, the more the humans pushed back. As the battle wore on, both sides felt the toll of the fight. The streets were littered with debris, and smoke filled the air. The humans, though exhausted, found strength in each other. They knew they were fighting for their home and their families. With every blast, the humans grew more determined. They would not let their city fall. The apex predators had come to conquer, but they were discovering that humans were not as easy to defeat as they had thought. As night fell, the city stood as a testament to the fierce battle. The humans had fought bravely, and the apex predators had begun to realize that this fight would not be over quickly. The stakes were higher than ever, and both sides prepared for the next round in this intense conflict. As the sun rose over the battle-scarred city, both humans and apex predators were feeling the effects of the intense fighting. The streets were filled with debris, and the air was thick with smoke. But amid the chaos, a spark of hope ignited among the humans. Commander Sarah stood with her team in the control center, strategizing. "We need to find a way to turn this fight in our favor," she said, her voice firm. "We have been pushed back, but we are not defeated. We can use our knowledge of the city to create a new plan." Her soldiers nodded, their spirits lifted by her determination. They began to brainstorm ideas. A young engineer named Mike suggested, "What if we use the subway tunnels? We can surprise them from below." The team thought this was a brilliant idea. They quickly set to work, planning how to use the tunnels to their advantage. Meanwhile, Zorath and his apex predators were frustrated. They had not expected such a strong defense from the humans. "These creatures are clever," Zorath growled, "but they cannot defeat us forever. We will crush their spirits." He ordered his warriors to increase their attacks on the city, hoping to break the humans' will. The aliens fired from their ships, destroying buildings and causing chaos. However, Sarah and her team were ready. They had set up traps and defenses in key areas, waiting for the right moment to strike back. That night, as the aliens celebrated what they thought was a victory, Sarah and her soldiers moved quietly through the subway tunnels. They crept toward the surface, determined to catch the aliens off guard. With each step, their hearts raced, but they remained focused. When they reached the surface, they saw a group of apex predators gathered near one of their ships. Sarah signaled her team to prepare. "On my mark, we attack!" she whispered. The soldiers took their positions, their weapons ready. "Now!" Sarah shouted. The humans charged forward, surprising the aliens. The sudden attack took the apex predators by surprise. They scrambled to defend themselves, but the humans were relentless. Sarah led the charge, shouting encouragement to her soldiers as they fought fiercely. The tide was turning. The humans used their knowledge of the city to their advantage. They moved quickly, working as a team. They aimed carefully and took down several aliens, causing panic among the apex predators. Zorath watched in shock. "What is happening?" "They are fighting like warriors!" he roared. The battle raged on, and the humans felt a renewed sense of strength. With each alien they defeated, their confidence grew. They fought bravely, using everything they had learned from the previous attacks. The tide was truly turning, and the humans could feel it. Zorath, desperate to regain control, ordered a full retreat to regroup. "We will not lose to these creatures!" he shouted. The apex predators fell back to their ships, but the humans were not finished yet. They pursued, determined to keep the pressure on. As the apex predators retreated, they faced an unexpected challenge. The humans had taken control of several key areas in the city. With their communication systems down, the aliens struggled to coordinate their movements. The humans used this to their advantage, launching surprise attacks and cutting off the aliens' escape routes. Back at the control center, Sarah and her team celebrated their small victories. "We can win this," she declared. "If we keep pushing forward, we can drive them out of our city for good." The soldiers cheered, feeling hope surge through them. As the battle continued, the humans grew more united. They had discovered their strength and resilience, and they were ready to fight for their home. The apex predators, once confident and powerful, were now facing a determined enemy. The humans knew that they could not let their guard down. Zorath was still dangerous, and the aliens would not give up easily. But with every victory, they felt closer to achieving their goal. As night fell again, the city was a battleground, but the humans had found their footing. They were ready to continue the fight, determined to protect their world from the apex predators. The tide had truly turned, and the battle for Earth was far from over. The city was a mess. Buildings lay in ruins and smoke filled the air. After days of fighting, the humans had gained confidence, but they knew the apex predators would not give up easily. Commander Sarah gathered her team in the control center, ready to make a final plan. "We have pushed them back, but this fight is not over," Sarah said, her voice steady. "Zorath and his warriors will come for us again. We need to be ready for their last stand." The soldiers listened intently. They felt a mix of fear and determination. Sarah continued, "We will set up defenses in the central square. If they attack, we will stand our ground and fight together. We can win this!" The soldiers nodded, ready to follow their leader. They quickly gathered supplies and set up barriers in the central square, creating a stronghold. As they worked, the tension grew. Everyone knew this could be the most dangerous battle yet. Meanwhile, Zorath was planning his next move. These humans are resilient, he thought, feeling anger boil inside him. But they will fall before us. We will show them the true power of the apex predators. He ordered his warriors to prepare for a massive attack on the central square. As night fell, both sides prepared for the final battle. The humans waited, their hearts pounding. They could see the shadows of the alien ships approaching, darkening the sky. Sarah raised her weapon and shouted, "Hold your positions! Remember why we fight!" The first wave of apex predators descended from their ships, charging into the square. The humans fired back, and the air erupted with blasts and explosions. Sarah fought bravely at the front, her soldiers rallying behind her. "Keep fighting! We can't let them take our home!" she shouted, leading the charge. The humans stood together, refusing to back down. They pushed forward, determined to protect their city. Zorath watched as his warriors engaged the humans. "Crush them!" he yelled, frustration growing. The battle was fierce, with both sides taking losses. The humans fought with everything they had, using their training and teamwork to hold the line. But as the fight continued, Zorath unleashed his most powerful weapon, a massive energy blast from the alien ships. The blast tore through the square, causing chaos and destruction. The humans stumbled back, shocked by the force of the attack. Sarah struggled to regain her footing, her heart racing. "Stay strong! Don't give up!" she shouted, trying to inspire her team. But the alien attack had shaken them. The soldiers regrouped, determined to keep fighting. They pushed back against the aliens, firing at the approaching enemies. In the midst of the chaos, a young soldier named Mike spotted an opening. "Commander, we can flank them from the left!" he shouted, pointing toward a gap in the alien lines. Sarah quickly assessed the situation. "Let's do it! Move now!" she ordered. The humans moved swiftly, taking advantage of the opening. They split into two groups, surrounding the aliens. The apex predators were caught off guard, and the humans seized the moment to attack with renewed strength. Zorath realized too late what was happening. "No! They're surrounding us!" he roared, panic spreading through his ranks. The humans pressed on, using their teamwork to outmaneuver the aliens. As the battle reached its peak, Sarah felt a surge of hope. "We can win this!" she shouted. "Fight for our families, our friends, and our home!" Her words ignited a fire in her soldiers. They fought harder than ever, pushing back against the apex predators. With one final push, the humans overwhelmed Zorath's forces. The aliens began to retreat, realizing they could not win. The humans cheered as the apex predators fled, their ships taking off into the night sky. Breathless and battered, Sarah and her team stood together in the square. They had fought bravely and protected their home. "We did it!" she exclaimed, a smile breaking through the exhaustion. "We fought together and won!" The city, though damaged, was still standing. The humans had proven their strength and resilience. As they looked up at the stars, they felt a sense of unity and hope. They had faced a powerful enemy and emerged victorious. But deep down, Sarah knew the fight for Earth was far from over. They had won this battle, but the war might not be finished. For now, they would celebrate their victory, but they would also prepare for whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they were ready to face the future. The battle had ended, but the city was left in ruins. Buildings were damaged and debris littered the streets. The humans stood together in the central square, exhausted but victorious. They had fought bravely against the apex predators, and their spirit had won the day. Commander Sarah looked around at her team. They were weary but proud. "We did it, everyone," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "We stood together and we protected our home. You all showed incredible courage." Cheers erupted from the crowd. The soldiers hugged each other, celebrating their hard-fought victory. But deep down, they knew the fight had taken a toll. Many had lost friends, and the scars of battle were visible on their faces. As the sun set, the atmosphere shifted. People began to clean up the city, working together to clear the debris. Sarah joined her team, helping to lift heavy pieces of rubble and restore order. "We have to rebuild," she said. "Our city is strong, and we will make it even stronger." As they worked, the people shared stories of bravery. They recalled moments of fear and triumph, laughter and tears. Each story reminded them of why they fought, for their families, their friends, and their future. Meanwhile, Zorath and the remaining apex predators retreated to their home planet. They had suffered a significant defeat, and Zorath was furious. "These humans are more powerful than we thought," he growled, slamming his fist on a table. "But this is not the end. We will return, and we will conquer Earth." Back on Earth, the humans were busy rebuilding. Sarah held a meeting with her team to discuss what had happened and what lay ahead. "We must stay vigilant," she said. "The apex predators will not give up. We need to prepare for their return." The soldiers nodded in agreement. They began training again, focusing on their skills and strategies. They knew that the next battle might be even tougher. But now they were united and ready to face any challenge. As days turned into weeks, life slowly returned to normal. The city began to heal, and people started to rebuild their homes. Sarah walked through the streets, feeling proud of her community. The spirit of the people shone brightly, and they worked together to restore what had been lost. One evening, as Sarah stood on a rooftop looking out over the city, she reflected on the recent events. She thought about the lives lost and the sacrifices made. She felt a deep sense of responsibility to protect her people. "We must be prepared," she whispered to herself. "We must always be ready." Her thoughts were interrupted by Mike, the young engineer who had suggested the subway plan. He joined her on the rooftop, breathing heavily. "Commander, you did an amazing job leading us," he said. "I still can't believe we won. I thought we were done for." Sarah smiled at him. "We fought as one. That's what made the difference. Each of you played a crucial role in our victory. But what if they come back?" Mike asked, worry in his eyes. "What if they bring an even bigger army next time?" "We will be ready," Sarah replied, determination filling her voice. "We have learned from this battle. We know what to expect, and we can adapt. We will train harder, and we will stand together." As the sun set, painting the sky in beautiful colors, Sarah felt a renewed sense of hope. The humans had proven their strength, and they would not back down. They had faced a powerful enemy and emerged victorious, but they also knew that true peace would require vigilance. Together, they would rebuild, train, and prepare for whatever challenges lay ahead. The fight for their home was not over, but they were ready to face the future, united as one. As Sarah looked out over her city, she knew they would rise stronger than ever. The humans had discovered their true power, and they would not let fear stop them. Earth was their home, and they would protect it at all costs.